I'm going to share today why I was stuck drinking way more than I wanted to, suffering from blackouts and all the horrible things that happen for more than 20 years, and why I held alcohol in such high regard and how that stopped me from taking action.
So Sandra, today we're going to get a little bit more personal. Can you tell us a bit more about your journey and why you were stuck drinking for 20 years?
Sure, it's such a good question because, like a lot of my clients, I look back and think, right, why did I stay in this cycle for such a long time? And there's a couple of reasons. The first one was throughout all the times I was binge drinking and I woke up and I felt waves of shame and anxiety and I was worried about my drinking, I still had this really, really strong belief that alcohol was a good thing. So I believed that a life without alcohol was too miserable to contemplate. I didn't see the point of a night out or a weekend or a holiday and loads of other things. So every time I drank too much, I never questioned, it never crossed my mind to think, well, maybe you should stop drinking. Like, I never seriously considered stop drinking ever. It was always about cutting down. And the reason it was about cutting down is because I thought alcohol was great and I thought the problem was me. So I felt like I just had to keep trying to exercise more self-control. But alcohol was a good thing. So my end goal was always to be able to drink, but not to get drunk. And because I now know alcohol is an addictive substance, I realised that trying to use willpower and cut down doesn't actually work. But it was the fundamental belief that alcohol is this amazing elixir and it's like the centre of the universe and no life is complete without it that kept me stuck for such a long time.
So what do you think contributed to you having such a strong belief?
Well, like when I was growing up, I remember being told that if you drank too much, you just had to exercise willpower. And I remember, if I think about every single reference, it's to do with alcohol. If I think about like every birthday, passing my exams, going to university, getting a job, every single milestone was celebrated with alcohol. Like the programs that I like to watch, so don't judge me, but I like Sex and the City. Like you always seen them like floating around in New York, like having these like really strong cocktails like during the day and nothing went wrong. And every single character that I identified with, that's what they did. So I feel like there was this constant conditioning in the background that alcohol was the thing that you'd done in a social occasion. It was how you met people, it was how you dated, it was how you met friends, it was how you connected. And even though it changed, so like at university, it would be like drinking cider and blackcurrant. Again, don't judge me, but the blackcurrant made it a bit more palatable. And then when I was like in my 30s, thinking I was sophisticated because I'd go wine tasting, but I had this, like if I think about everything that happens, if you just take a day for an example, right? You go into a restaurant, right? What's the first thing they do? They give you the wine list, right? If you say you're not drinking, they'll take the wine glasses away. Or you walk past a bar and there's like a sign for happy hour. Your friend says, let's meet up for a drink. You know, it's just constant. So I think that it would have been hard not to have adopted that beliefs and not to be impacted by that conditioning, given how strong it is and how strong the marketing is as well.
So what role would you say the cycles of guilt and shame after heavy sessions of drinking, or even just light, small, consistent sessions of drinking, what role did that play in terms of breaking down that barrier of conditioning?
So again, it's a good question because I always thought it was me, right? It's like, why did you make a fool of yourself again? Why can't you drink like a normal person, right? I hear that quote from my clients all the time. And I told myself that as well. So I would wake up after a big night out and I would check to see if I had my bag, if I had my phone, if I had my brain, and I make sure that I was, got my phone okay, and then it was like, right, did I text anybody? Did I do anything stupid? And then I would try and piece together the night before, like, what did I say? What did I do? And I would feel horrible. and I would physically not feel good, but I would feel so annoyed with myself and a bit pathetic, like just like, oh my goodness, here we go again. And so when I felt like that, it still never crossed my mind to not drink. Like when I felt like that, I remember one of my friends saying, look, have a soft drink with each alcoholic drink. So when I felt like that, the next time I went out, I would actually try harder, or I would try a new technique to try and drink less. And I would be more determined to make it work because I had drank so much. But I never wanted to not drink. And actually, if I'm being really honest, sometimes after I woke up the next day and I felt really embarrassed about what had happened, I really felt that I needed a drink the next day. So although the alcohol had made me feel awful, alcohol was the thing that I turned to, like, like lunchtime or the afternoon it's to take the edge off. So it really had a huge grip. And I didn't realise it at the time because I still had this massively strong belief that alcohol was fun, and I just had to, I had to be more in control, that it was my fault.
So going back to the cycles of shame and guilt, do you feel like that had an influencing factor or played a bigger role in your addiction as opposed to the conditioning, or do you feel like it was equally as impactful?
So I think what happened for me was, as I was getting older, hangovers were getting worse. So it was like my body was struggling to handle it, and I was suffering more and more. And I also was someone that had always struggled with anxiety, and that when I hit my 40s, that got worse. So it got to the point where nothing had really changed. Like I guess it was fair to say that I wasn't blacking out as much, but I didn't have any more control over alcohol than I previously had. It was probably just that my lifestyle had changed a bit. I knew whenever something difficult happened, I would turn to alcohol, and I knew that every so often I would have a blackout, but the feelings were getting worse and worse, and my anxiety was I was really struggling with that. And I remember one time just thinking to myself, I just can't bear to feel like this anymore. And I had tried like all the, sober October, dry January. I had tried apps. I had tried the things like, hey, just have a glass of water between a drink. When you order wine, order a smaller glass. Like I had tried tons and tons of stuff. And I thought, I'm not really doing this properly. So that's when I decided that I needed to actually properly educate myself about it. But I remember just thinking to myself, I'm not going to get that drunk again. Like at that point, I didn't know when I would make a change. And here's the funny thing, I still wanted to moderate. So I wasn't saying, right, I'm never drink, but I thought I'm going to like put my all into this, because the desire to not be hungover at that point was stronger than I had ever been. But alcohol still had such a hold that the solution for me was never going to be not drink. It was like learn how to drink less. That was the goal.
It seems like a common theme among anyone being addicted to any sort of substance is that it always seems to be that you have to get to the point where the desire to actually not feel this way anymore is greater than the desire to consume whatever substance that you might be consuming. Do you feel like that's the case for most people, or are there any other situations in which usually prompt someone to really take getting over their addiction seriously?
What I would say is there's a lot of people that are like me that have their end goal to get in control of alcohol and not to give up completely, but they're fully committed to it and they want to actually take action. And that can be as a result of a bit of a slow burn. So that I would say that was like my experience, where you just had enough, right? You've been doing it for such a long time and you've had enough. For other people, there could be something in their life that's happened, and it's not always necessarily a bad thing. It could be like they've got more free time. So some people find that if they start working part-time or they retire, then they want to drink more. For other people, like life gets more stressful, or somebody in their family gets ill, or there's a bereavement, or something goes wrong, and at that point they can recognize that their drinking has got out of control and they need to do something about it. But I'd say that even when all these things happen, whether it's someone's partner giving them an ultimatum, someone realizing they're not performing at work, or someone really feeling sick of feeling awful about alcohol is such a stronghold that all of those people, the vast majority of them that I speak to, they still want to drink occasionally. So they hate how alcohol's made them feel, but we still put alcohol on a pedestal, so they have this goal of drinking occasionally. Thanks very much for watching. I work with high achieving men and women that are professionals and entrepreneurs to help them gain control over alcohol, even if they've been stuck drinking for decades. If you'd like to learn more and find out how I could help you, check out my website, justthetonic.coaching.com, and I offer everybody a free breakthrough call to understand what's keeping you stuck and how we can help you get free from alcohol and enjoy your life more. Thanks.